most fucking ridiculous question. Someone asked me today, am I tough? I replied with my best 90s Keanu Reeves being like, what? I know, it's a real tough guy answer. But I'm not used to that question because I'm not tough. And most people know that about 5 seconds into knowing me. I'm not even built tough. I had cancer twice in my early 20s, and I'm a positive guy. I like to live by a motto that is, when life gives you tumors, you make turmeric. And I think the best glass of turmeric I've ever made is coming up with a system to combat not being tough. And I call it Lunatactics. So, Lunatactics has a few L's of Lunatactics. Look, loiter, leave, leap, laugh. You guys know what I mean. So, the best place I think that I can describe Lunatactics, or when you might encounter a lunatic in your life, is at the DMV. So, by striking coincidence, I was summoned to the DMV this week. And it's not just because I've lived in California long enough to forget how driving works. It's because my driver's license is about to expire, and I had to make a trip to the best place ever. And when I got to the California DMV, I realized something. If you are from out of state and you live here now, and you have to get your driver's license renewed, you have to retake the driving test. What the fuck? Yeah. And so it hit me. I thought California DMVs were gonna be chill. They're not. They're like every other DMV. Maybe I have a bitter taste in my mouth because I'm used to Chicago DMVs where I'm from. And the last time I was in a DMV before this week was during something called a polar vortex. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a weather pattern so cold, you will only leave your house to score weed or apparently do very low-level legal errands. So, I'm in the DMV, I'm in line, and from behind me, I hear screaming in a government building, pause, Lunatactics are about to start, a man say, "Shut the fuck up, I'm cold." Holy shit. That's the same logic your dad uses when he says, "Turn the radio off, I can't fucking see." It's crazy talk. You're here, the lunatic is here, you gotta laugh this one off. There is no conceivable world where you are getting out of that altercation. So, snap back to LA, and I was told there's a study guide for the driving test, but I'm gonna have to wait in another line. So, the nice people at the DMV are like, could you please sit over here in the world's least friendly waiting room to get called up again? And I was like, super. So, I sit down, and I pull out my phone, try to pass some time. And from behind me, someone taps me on the shoulder. Another lunatactic. And he's like, "Hey, have you ever been to Seattle?" I'm like, I haven't, so no. And I turn around, and he's like, "Hey, yo, you should go to Seattle. They have really good drugs there." And I was thinking to myself, is it that obvious that that's the pickup line? Ouch, but fair. And I turn around, and I'm like, "Do say more." And he's like, "Well, it's really cheap to fly there." And I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "And if you don't have money, you can dumpster dive on college campuses." Plot is getting thicker. "And you can pawn the shit that you get out of the dumpster to fly to Seattle and do cheap drugs." And then his number gets called, and that interaction ends. So I was left sitting there like, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened. I gotta look at flights to Seattle. So I was scrolling through my phone, and I heard my number get called to go up to talk to another person. And the person turns around their computer monitor like, this is the study guide. It was bad news. The first question on the study guide, and I shit you not, is what is the fine in the state of California for throwing a pet out of a moving vehicle? Yeah, that's a pretty aggressive opener. I would have started with something more logical, like why are BMWs and Mercedes in the state of California made without turn signals? Yeah. Or why are Priuses speed capped to 14 miles an hour? So I was like, here's what I'm gonna do. I take a couple hits of my dab pen, take an Uber ride home. So, sitting outside waiting for the Uber to arrive, and between us, when I get too high, I only have 2 responses, which are, damn, that sucks, and shit, that's kind of crazy. Those never fail me when I'm not listening to my friends. But I'm about to realize that doesn't always work in social settings. So the Uber gets there, and I'm like, I think it might be too high. Because I sit in the Uber, and I'm like, hey, how's your day? And he's like, wah, 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 wah. Uh-oh. So I kind of look down at my phone, and I'm like, I cannot handle this. And he keeps saying, wah, 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 wah. And I'm like, I know a fucking perfect comeback. Damn, that sucks. And he turns around and is like, fuck you. Oh, what did I reply to? Well, he just told me his daughter graduated from college, and he is so proud of her. And essentially, from the back of the Uber, I was like, fuck your family. And as I was profusely apologizing, my feeble, stoned brain went back into Stoneland, and all I heard was wah, 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 wah. And I was like, I have to reply with something. Shit, that sucks. And he almost pulled over. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? And I'm like, what did I respond to? Apparently, he also has a brand new, beautiful granddaughter that the guy in the Uber was like, fuck your granddaughter, dude. And before I could continue to apologize, he slammed on his brakes as hard as he could to avoid an accident, which I can only imagine was caused by a guy throwing a dog out of a moving window, which was getting cut off by a Mercedes not using its turn signal, behind a Prius going 14 miles an hour. And he turns to me and is like, are you good? And I'm like, damn, that sucks. Thank you very much.